Here are my 3 note cards. Hello fellow students and Professor Nackley. My name is Patrick Zenon, and this is my speech on the history of tobacco. The tobacco plant is believed to have been growing on this earth as early as 6000 BC. The plant grows natively in North and South America, but is now grown all over the world, and there are 70 different species of tobacco. On average, if grown correctly, a tobacco plant takes about 8 to 12 weeks to grow in warm climate. The actual seed that comes from tobacco is very small, and about 300,000 seeds only weighs about 1 ounce. And believe it or not, the tobacco plant is in the same family as the tomato, the potato, and the pepper. Tobacco can be used in many ways. You could smoke it in a pipe, you could chew it, you could smoke it in a cigar or a cigarette, or you could smoke it in a water pipe. Tobacco really started being used by people around 1 BC, where it is said Native Americans would harvest it and use it for things like medicine and religion. They would chew it to rid of toothaches and headaches, and they would also dress wounds with the leaves, and during religious ceremonies they would smoke it out of handcrafted pipes. And this is how the Indians used the tobacco for a long time. It wasn't until 1492 when Christopher Columbus discovered the New World, when sailors learned what tobacco was from the natives, and they would bring it back to Europe with them. Soon after this, tobacco became very popular in Europe, mainly for the same reasons as the Indians, because they believed it helped with medical purposes. The Europeans believed it could cure everything from disease, cancer, to bad breath. Then in the 1600s, once it became very popular everywhere, tobacco was said at one point to be used as currency. People used it to trade with people for supplies necessary for their homes and just for their necessities. It was also said to be good as gold at one point. At this time, people everywhere were chewing tobacco, smoking cigars. At the time, it was very popular and it was considered a luxury. In 1760, a man named Pierre Lorillard established the first and now the oldest tobacco company in the United States. It was called Lorillard Tobacco Company, founded in New York City. They produced tobaccos, cigars, snuff, chewing tobaccos, and cigarettes, basically anything for the tobacco user at that time. And nowadays they make Newport menthol cigarettes, which are actually the #1 selling menthol cigarette in the United States. Shortly after, in 1776, during the American Revolutionary War, tobacco helped partially finance the war. It was used as collateral to other countries in return for their aid during the war. After some time, scientists began to realize that there were some health effects that came from using tobacco. In 1826, the pure form of nicotine was discovered and labeled a dangerous poison, and 10 years later, it was stated in a medical book that tobacco can actually kill you. This made some people more aware that they shouldn't use tobacco, but millions of people continued to anyways, because at the time it was just very popular for everyone. In 1847, Philip Morris Tobacco Company was established. They are now actually the #1 company in the world and most popularly known for the Marlboro cigarette, which has been around for many years. Soon after Philip Morris came about, many other tobacco companies started popping up, because at the time the tobacco industry was a growing industry and you could make a lot of money being in there. Even though people knew the health risks of it, they continued to smoke and use tobacco products. But as the industry grew, so did anti-smoking or anti-tobacco campaigns that even had some states at the time thinking of banning tobacco from their states. When World War I started, the number of cigarettes being used exploded. Tobacco companies would send millions of free cigarettes to the troops at war that they called soldier smokes. In return, it was all a business plan. In return, they would think when the troops came home, they would have millions of loyal customers who were hooked on smokes because they sent it to them, which actually worked, and it was a big boom for the tobacco industry. Also at this time, cigarettes were being advertised almost everywhere you looked. There were billboards, there was everything in magazines, but nowadays things are changing. Less people smoke than before. Still, many people smoke. Tobacco ads are banned from television. Smoking is banned from flights. Smoking is prohibited in public places. The price of tobacco has risen tremendously from what it used to be. People now who used to smoke can't afford to smoke and raise their family. people are more health conscious now about smoking because all this anti-smoking ads, but still about 18% of adults in America smoke cigarettes, and it kills about 480,000. And lastly, I'd like to just leave you off with some interesting facts about the largest companies, tobacco companies in the world and how much they make. At number 5, Altria and Philip Morris, USA, they make about $23.8 billion a year. British America Tobacco makes about $24.5 million a year. Imperial Tobacco, about $46 billion a year. Japan Tobacco International is at $65 billion a year, and Philip Morris International makes $76 billion a year. Thank you for listening to my speech. I hope you enjoyed it. Any pointers on what I should do better next time would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.